Whether you're a Class 5 rafter or just looking for a couple of laughs, these two have you covered. Welcome to Aaron and Zach's Better Than Mediocre Rafting Show.
It's Friday afternoon, and you know what that means?
Tool time?
No, it's Aaron and Zach's Naive and I forgot the name of the show already. That's how bad we are. Aaron and Zach's Entitled and Naive Rafting Show. So welcome.
I love it. I love it. I'm happy to be. Yeah. I appreciate people watch us to tell us that we're naive and entitled. Yep. Thanks for watching. Yep. All those who wherever you're watching for, great. Just go ahead, keep watching, and whatever is it, keep trolling us.
It's not trolling. I mean,
it's not trolling.
I mean, we are naive and entitled. We're certainly entitled. Naive is we can make an argument against naive.
I mean, I'm gonna say I feel like we made it another step up now that we have haters. Now that we've got like haters and people like talking trash, like we made it a little bit. Like people think we're big enough to try to cut down a little bit.
Yeah.
Only here to stay awake. Oh man.
No, to stay woke. Not awake, woke.
Whoa, to stay woke.
Do you guys have woke in Hawaii? People out there woke?
I'm not really excited to talk about tools, but I'd rather talk about tools than woke. So let's go. Like we can keep this be a woke free zone. Like I don't really.
No, I'm woke though. I asked my guides about it. I'm definitely woke. So
Does Dougie say you're woke?
Probably not. Well, welcome everybody to the show. We don't need to talk about any of this stuff. But to follow up with last week, and we have a bunch of videos to watch that we're not going to get to this week. We'll put a lot of them off to next week. We're going to talk about tools for a little bit, and then we have a special guest we'll bring on here in a few minutes. But I want to first follow up with some of the tool talk that we did, because I did some research into some cool stuff. And the first thing I want to talk about, and I'm sorry to annoy you with this, Aaron. I know you hate this topic, but there's so much here that we can go over. Oh my God, let me switch to this. Let's go to Leatherman really quick. And people left comments, and a great point is you don't really want to use a Leatherman. Do you agree with this, Aaron? It works for this, but it's not very good.
I'm going to say neither are channel locks for that.
I'm going to say channel locks are way better, because the channel locks. Well, I had different channel locks last week. I bought these new ones from Irwin, or from Knipex. That company. Remember the company that makes these cool things? These things they have like a little. Can you see? There's a place for a nut in there.
The channel lock show. We are now Zach and Aaron's channel lock show.
Aaron, chill out. So when you put it in here, sorry, you have to adjust it a little bit. When you put it in, it doesn't strip the nut the way that your Leatherman would, because it kind of fits on it.
Yeah, I'm going to say either one is not. Neither of those are the right tool for the job.
It's not the right tool for the job. Thanks for mentioning that, Aaron. Appreciate it. They have this NRS brass knuckles death tool that has a 1/2-inch socket on it that does the job. And I like to carry a ratchet personally. Yeah. And I like the I didn't have this stuff with me last week. The deep socket, especially with these NRS things, to get into that one back there.
Yeah.
So having the deep socket is awesome. Yeah. So BW, what's up? You got my back. They do work awesome on hex nuts. And so I couldn't find this last week, but this is the Knipex channel lock, and it's better than channel locks. Like there's a little button that you can move it around. Look how big it can get.
The button's going to get jammed over time.
It's not going to get jammed.
When you're
this is high quality stuff.
It's going to get messed up, because it's going to get rust up, and it's not going to work properly.
How do you know it's going to rust? I don't think these are rust. These look
everything rusts on the river.
These look cast iron. They're not even cast iron.
It still will rust at some point.
Whatever. I'm not that worried about it. So I think as a tool, these are kind of cool to have, and these Knipex ones are sweet. Now, when I showed you these last week, Aaron, I can't believe you thought I was serious. Like, you guys started taking me seriously. They're so small. Like, I agree that these are basically useless. They maybe in a pinch.
Oh, you're changing your tune now, Zach. Now you're changing your tune. Like, oh yeah, I wasn't serious last week about this, guys. Really,
you think I'm serious about these tiny little things?
I was joking.
Aaron,
okay.
Look how small these are. Like, you guys actually gave me a chance to like make you think I thought.
Zach, I'm gonna say you purchased them.
I purchased them thinking they were bigger. You know when you buy something on Amazon and you get it like, That isn't what I wanted. That's this purchase. I recognize these
send
are
it back.
pretty
You could
useless.
send it back to Amazon. You could send it back.
I'm not a returner, personally, and I think they're kind of cool, and I used them for the show.
You don't have a Whole Foods in town that you can just drop them off at either, huh?
No, but I also feel like they're fun to bring on the show, and so maybe someday I'll use them for something.
Okay.
But this is the larger version, the actual size, and I think these are pretty sweet for just like having an all-around tool because you can use them on a nut, you can use them to pull up a Dutch oven. They're a little bit big for a PFD. When I also wouldn't normally put tools like this in a PFD. I'm gonna bring it back on here, Aaron. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm not gonna put tools in a PFD unless I'm doing something easy and I know I'm gonna use them a lot.
I'm going to say that I have a pair of channel locks that I carry in one of the old standard ammo cans, the smaller ones, that'll sit upright in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still got good leverage. I can still do everything I need with it. And it's a nice size. So I would go, if I were having a personal pair, I'd have them smaller than that.
They make a set smaller than this too.
Like maybe 2/3 of that size.
Yeah, they make one. This is like the 7 1/4, and they make like a 5 1/2 or a 6. They make a bunch of sizes. There you go. Check out that comment. They don't rust.
Yeah, Robert. I just feel like anything that's been in a like
Aaron
rafting can for years gets rusty.
It says Vanadin on the outside.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's made with some like alloy or something like that.
I think that Vanadin is what Iron Man used for his suit. I'm pretty sure that it's rust-free, kind of like Iron Man's rust-free. But there's also, there's all kinds of nuts we have to. What? Vibranium. Sorry,
vibranium. That was amazing, though.
All right. You don't watch The Mandalorian, but it could be Beskar.
Okay.
Those of you that watch Mandalorian would know Beskar.
Let's keep going.
Okay. Anyway, so same thing. This is like for those of you that's pins and clips. This nut, you're not going to pull this nut off with a Leatherman. I mean, maybe you could, but in a pinch. But it's going to ruin the nut.
You're not using them for that. They're needle nose, and you shouldn't be using your channel locks for that either.
Channel locks are great for this. That's all I use for this. I don't carry a crescent wrench with me, and these ones. My point is, Aaron, can you see these things? These fancy Knipex ones. That's not perfect, but fits it really well.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. I don't. First of all, I don't like that style of pins and clip. I think it's way messier. They always coming down. The ball always comes off. More importantly, can you tighten the ball down with that?
You can. Yeah, I mean that's another.
If it's big enough to tighten the ball down, then that's a little more useful because that ball always comes undone.
This will fit around your arm.
Yeah.
Your puny little arms.
Yes.
So yeah, I can fit it. So like on the ball, look at that.
As long as it'll fit on the ball and you can tighten the ball, that's where I feel like use it.
There's actually a bunch of channel lock marks on this ball.
I'm sure there are. Funny. Hopefully, this means you've got some good guides there that are tightening them down with channel locks to make sure that. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to make the point personally.
Exactly. Yeah. Can you cut a tree limb with that?
Tree limb with what?
With your channel locks.
No.
Can you file something with them?
Oh, come on. You're not going to cut a tree limb with this tree limb.
Yeah, you totally cut tree limb. That thing actually works really well.
I wouldn't. A limb? No, more like a tiny little stick. I bring a handsaw with me. I have like a handsaw like this in my kit.
And then can you tighten a screw with your channel locks?
I cannot tighten a screw with my channel locks.
Okay. All right. And can you fix your sunglasses with your channel locks?
No.
Okay.
But I think those things are secondary and not that important. So anyway, so I think I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of a Leatherman in a PFD, but I do carry one in my repair kit for those kinds of.
I'm going to say this. I carry a Leatherman and I carry channel locks somewhere in my kit of stuff.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go. Exactly.
So speaking of the kit of stuff, I also carry this size of vice grips. Because then you have.
I feel so bad. Zach, I'm going to say I feel so bad for your guides. You probably have more junk that they never use. Or do they just once you leave and drive back north, they're just like, okay, guys, let's take all that stuff out that Zach loves that we never use and
this
hide
isn't
it.
For our. I mean, this stuff lives in our repair kit, our one repair kit for the trip. But I don't make them all carry this. But I have this in my personal private boating kit. And that way, if you needed like twist, you have two different wrench type things.
You do need two. Having two is really helpful. I agree.
And the vice grip is nice sometimes for some applications. This is nice for some applications. They kind of to help each other.
I feel like the channel locks, though, and between a channel locks and your Leatherman, you can solve most problems. You can solve a lot more problems with those two.
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, I think drum tech guy, I think both is good, but when you're limited for space and weight, sometimes it's overkill. But I also bought, Aaron, for us to talk about on the show.
Have we looked at all these comments? There's a lot of comments. Wow.
Somebody talked about the skeleton last week. Look at that thing. And it doesn't, I got this. It's pretty cool. It has the screwdriver. It has this thingy bobber, the pliers. And that's basically it. What's
the difference between it and a Leatherman? Why is that better than Leatherman?
I'll show you why it came up last week. Because it has this knife right here, which can cut rope, where the Leatherman knife can cut rope.
Yeah, it does have one. It has a similar knife, just like
but this is serrated.
No, they have a serrated one, don't they?
Not my knife.
Doesn't have two cutting blades. Doesn't have another cutting blade.
No, it has a big ass file.
And on the other side.
Actually, I needed a file the other day with a chainsaw. Oh, it does. It does. You're right.
Yeah. See, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, but this one you would never put in your PFD. It's like a little heavy, a little overkill.
Okay.
This one, somebody last week said this is his river knife because it has the quick and easy to access knife cutting tool, and it's the Skeletool. It weighs less. It's not that heavy. It's kind of a cool tool.
I mean, that's I think there is some I mean, like if someone had that one, be like, oh, dude, you're sketchy. I mean, that's cool. Yeah, that seems like a good option. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of a mixing, like having some tools with you and your river knife combined to one. Yeah. You're not going to do one of those like cut a rope in 1 second to save somebody's life things that people talk about. But I mean, how often do you not have an extra 3 seconds to cut a rope?
Yeah, totally. Go to Caleb. Yeah, Caleb, you go back to Caleb. Yeah, Caleb, you're right.
I don't agree.
No, I think I said crescent wrench when I meant channel locks. At some point in there, I may have said crescent wrench. Maybe that's what he's referring to. Yeah, we're not really. Yeah, a crescent wrench has a place. Well, maybe he's asking about I think a crescent wrench is helpful to have in like a big repair kit of stuff. Oh boy, the cards are out.
It could be. Sorry, it could be. It's always a habit, but I think for rafting, these tools cover a lot of it. Like you can get away with these over and not have a crescent wrench.
Yeah, but
there's things these can do that a crescent wrench kind of can't. Like you're
just going to strip out stuff though with those that you won't with the crescent wrench.
I don't think so much with this. This is pretty nice. And if you and most of what you're doing is 1/2 inch anyway, so I think
you only use those anyways. It doesn't matter if you strip them out because that's what you use all the time anyways. So it doesn't matter if it gets stripped out because you don't even need it to have sides because you're using your channel locks. It can just be all torn up if that's all you use.
Well, you're rarely moving these nuts. But I think this set is a pretty nice set of stuff to have. Have the 1/2 inch for your NRS stuff. Have these two bad boys. Bring your Leatherman. It's not super heavy. If you're going to put it in your PFD and want to be kind of an in-betweener, having this as a river knife, I think is a pretty cool way to go. I do want to show you this. Somebody mentioned last week the Leatherman Crunch, which I looked into. They don't make it anymore, and you can buy it on eBay for $300.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the idea. I was really into this.
Yes, Robert, it does. Everything gets rusty. Everything.
This doesn't get rusty. It's made out of the thing Iron Man's made out of. Vibranium.
I've never seen a tool in a rafting company, like whatever repair box that isn't rusty.
Unless because you haven't used knife packs.
I just don't believe it. I mean, it's going to get gummed up somehow.
I don't think that will. I think this is made out of something super fancy that doesn't rust. So anyway, I think there's a lot of 2 channel locks and a crescent wrench.
2 channel locks. Wow.
I mean, I think I don't know if you need 2, but maybe you do. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like instead of 2 channel locks, having these tools because they're different.
Yeah.
Right, because they like this one might be better for one project, this might be better for something else, but these
but the
vice,
those vice, they're heavy. Vice grips are heavy.
They are heavy. They are definitely heavy. My
Right.
socket wrench, clean and shiny. I mean, these live in dry bags, so they don't like. Aaron's thinking of all of our commercial trips where stuff is in a box. It's like it gets water in there sometimes. We don't always open it in between trips. So yeah.
Oh no! Really? Oh my God! So exciting! I'm so pumped.
We have our guest,
Aaron. That's
hey,
you.
Vladimir, how you doing? Good to see you, buddy. It's been a long time. Oh my goodness. Oh look, you even got a cool microphone too. You and Zach with your cool microphones.
Aaron,
Oh,
you stopped in your development. You look like young boy.
Well, thank you. Yes. I don't. No responsibility does that for you. Yeah, man. Oh man, this is exciting. We have Vlad on today. So what are we going to talk about with Vlad? Oh my goodness.
well, I have some. So for those of you who don't know, Vladimir is a prolific rafter who did expeditions in the Soviet Union in the 80s. Do you go in the 70s too, Vlad, or just the 80s?
End of 70s, 80s, yes.
End of 70s. He has 2 PhDs in radiation chemistry, right? Are they both radiation chemistry?
Solid state physics.
Solid state physics. Okay, I'm this is a terrible intro, but he has 2 PhDs and then spent his time in the Soviet Union traveling around all over Russia, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, the Caucasus, and Kamchatka even, and throughout Siberia boating, and has all kinds of cool video from that. And Aaron and I met him guiding on the Tuolumne River in California, where we spent a lot of time. Where Vlad and I teasing Aaron for years.
We met
and years
in Cal Salmon.
Yep. We met on the Cal Salmon. So we're gonna have Vlad on the show, and we have some of Vlad's footage from his rafting trips from the 80s. So I'm gonna pull that up for us to talk about. So, and for those of you that don't, Vlad and I, before we did the video show, or even before I did Gear Garage, I figured I'd get this going up again. I'll remove. We recorded a bunch of videos of him and I talking over this footage already, but we were still learning how to use microphones and Skype, and so they're really good videos. But we're gonna take some time and go over these videos again, and have Vlad live if anybody wants to ask him questions. So I'm just gonna start playing them, and Vlad, if you want to tell us where we are and what we're doing.
It's a video of 1991 about our trip to Avarskaya Kaisu River in Dagestan. It's East Caucasus.
Dagestan?
Yes.
Wow.
It is Muslim republic that's located in mountains, bunch of ethnic groups, very interesting mountain villages.
Vlad, is Dagestan in Russia now, or is it its own separate country now?
No, it is part of Russia.
Okay. Would it be a place, like, do you think people would enjoy boating there now? Is it safe?
Long time it wasn't the best place to travel because of situation in Chechnya. It is just across the border from Dagestan. And even Dagestan itself had some frictions with Chechens, mostly economical, like, Chechens stole cows or girls. It was pretty interesting life there.
Cows or girls?
Yeah, or both together.
What? So here, I'm sharing my screen if we can for a second, Zach, and I think I figured where this is. So we're talking right in this area here. Is that right, Vlad?
If you look at Caspian Sea,
Yeah, just
huge lake, you see, right?
Yeah.
And Black Sea, Dagestan. Right now, your pointer is right there. Yes.
Okay, that's where. Okay, great. And where were you living when you did this trip? How far did you guys have to travel for this?
I lived in Riga. It's Latvia. It's somewhere right here.
Oh, right up here. Yep, like there, Latvia. Okay.
You see my pointer, right?
No, but I got it. I got it right up here. I think we see it. Yeah, right there, Latvia. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice. All right. Wow, that's a lot of traveling to get all the way down there, huh? And you guys would travel with all your boats from? Were you guys all from Latvia, or you guys?
Yeah, main thing when you travel in Soviet Union was to cheat on your luggage and present that your boat weight, let's say, instead of 60 kilos, it's weight about 20, maybe 15 kilos.
You just lied?
You just lied?
It is special art.
What's the art? Helium balloons? Don't they have a scale, Vlad?
Yeah, don't they weigh it right there?
Yes. We always had people in our group who were really artful in this, matter.
Wow. Okay. So you guys traveled down there by train, or how did you get there?
Sometimes train, but in this case, to travel to Dagestan, we flew to Moscow, and from Moscow we changed plane and flew to Makhachkala. It is capital of Dagestan.
Okay. Wow.
And from there we took helicopter to fly into mountains.
So they're
You
not.
guys got a helicopter?
Yeah.
You guys must. Were you guys like super rich or something? You guys just get helicopters?
Yes, helicopter for about 30 people, and you buy ticket.
You buy a ticket to the middle of nowhere?
What?
Yeah. And you fly to place when you can, get a guy with old truck who can take you to, upstream of river.
How do you even communicate with the guy? So when you land in the helicopter, that the guy there would know to pick you up with the truck, or did you get there then have to find the guy?
No, it is a regular flight from Makhachkala to.
Oh, so it is a scheduled flight. Like you just get a ticket.
It's
a schedule.
Oh wow! Oh, okay.
There's a helicopter every day from 2:00 that goes.
To be ready to bad weather, that you have chance to wait for good weather that will open summits over which helicopter should fly, but it does not depend on you.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so this is the river right here. This looks nasty, Vlad.
Yes, it is upstream of Avarskaya Kaisu, one of two forks that form it.
And
rivers, you can see very gray, a lot of sediments.
Yeah.
Vlad, is this a case if you guys traveled with the tubes and then when you got to put in used wood you found, or did you bring the frame with you?
Here, because it's no forest around, we brought everything with us. Elements of frame, tubes, inflatable tubes, etc. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's cool. Man.
Vlad, there's a question for you. Did you have to buy a ticket for your boat too?
No, you should pretend that it is not a boat, but let's say small gift to your friend in some villages in mountains.
You say it's like a bag of apples.
Yeah, and better if you will give your backpack with boat to small girl. Nobody will think that it is heavy. But then remember that in this time, we did not hear about terrorists. Therefore, we could offer our physical power, our hands, to workers who load airplane.
You can help load the
them.
plane.
You're like, here, we'll help
Yeah.
load this bag in. This 20-pound bag that's not very heavy. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not 20 pounds. It's
Ooh.
closer to 100 pounds, but yeah.
And
But
when we
that's
talk to Vlad, we don't speak in we only
Oh, yeah,
use,
gotta use
kilograms. Got to use the
Yes.
European units.
Kilograms, yes. In metric system, like all civilized world used to measure mass. Yeah.
So, Vlad, what are you guys doing here now? It looks like you guys are putting backpacks on. What's up?
What?
Oh, wasn't that? I thought they were just putting on backpacks.
No, it is just because you have to find place for your camp.
Oh, okay.
And as a rule, this place is not very close to the river. You have to walk maybe, I don't know, 100, 150 yards.
So there's not just like big sandy beaches to camp on.
Therefore, you take all your stuff on your back and you walk a little bit.
Oh, gosh. So are you guys strapped in on these?
No.
On the boats?
No. You have straps around your knees.
Okay.
Okay. And it is working very nice because if you flip, it's very easy to leave them. But if you don't want to swim, you don't have, want to swim today, they will protect you. You will stay on the boat.
Yeah. What were the tubes made out of, Vlad, on those boats that you're running?
Sorry, Aaron.
What are the tubes made out of on your cats? What did you make? What's the material that you used to make it?
It's a two-tube system. Outside tube made from something like PVC. We actually took tents cover from a big, let's say here it is 18-wheeler. In Russia, it was much smaller trucks. And we saw, and this outside tube created shape of boat, and inside we have a tube from rubberized capron or something like this, and it is bigger size than outside. Therefore, when you pump it in, this rubberized capron does not stretch. But it is very good system.
It's like the original airboat.
Yeah, like the airboats. Yeah, like the airboats. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And wow, and then how'd you? How'd you guys pump them up? Do you guys have pumps? Did you guys build pumps, or what did you do?
We had pumps. Usually, it is foot pump. It surprised me, but it was in, let's say, much less developed Soviet Union. Let's say these foot pumps were much more effective than foot pumps that we have in our safety gear stuff.
Did you say more effective?
More effective, much more.
Wait, the Soviet pumps are better than our pumps now?
Yeah, we call them frog, лягушка.
You're saying that your communist pumps work better than our capitalist pumps?
Foot pump, yes.
Foot pump, okay.
Did you make these yourselves, or did you buy the foot pumps in the store?
You could buy them in sport equipment store. Usually it's the same department that sell very small fishing or hunting rubber boats,
Hmm.
and usually this pump went with them. But you don't need to buy boat; you could buy only pump. It cost just maybe 12 rubles, nothing.
What, I don't even know what that means. 12 rubles.
12 rubles. Now it is, you can see, maybe 10 cents now.
A
Oh,
ruble's
wow.
like a
But,
cent.
Yeah.
it's silly to compare prices because you have to look at total
Yeah.
economy, how it works, and what cost, living and transportation, etc., etc., etc.
So Vlad, I'm curious. Like, you guys seem to be running these 4-person catarafts. Why don't we run those here in the States?
Because here you can see all 4 paddlers.
Mhm.
They're doing very similar work. You have one person captain or
Oh.
pilot of boat or who give commands and everyone follow it. Can you imagine that commercial people will do it?
Yeah.
But
you
Commercially, it's hard because
with
you're on your knees too.
Collier, you remember him, director of Sibak?
That's Corky Collier.
Yes. We try to, offer people run North Fork American on 4-person Russian cat. It did not work well. Just people did not want to sit on knees, all of them had problems with back.
Oh, yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
like I did a trip with Vlad where people were on a cat, and it's really hard on your knees. It's not like sitting on your butt on a tube is pretty nice, but being on your knees all day, it's hard, I think.
But you can see that work on your knees is much, much, much more effective than when you sit on your butt.
Yeah, no, you can see it. I mean, it's kind of like C1ing, basically. Yeah.
Yes, because additionally to your shoulders and your arms, you have force and power of your back.
Vlad, is this a new trip we're on now? Did this just change and now we're somewhere else?
This one, yes. Now we're on Central Asia. It is Kyrgyzstan.
Okay.
Zach, you were there?
Yeah, I wasn't here. I think we wanted to go.
But in this republic, yes.
Is this the tributary of the Chatkal or the?
Yes, exactly. It is the biggest source of Chatkal.
I forget the name of it, but the Sandalash.
Sandalash, exactly.
Sandalash, yeah. I wanted to go run this, and we got there. We were there in November, and it was just too cold to go up here and do this. But I want to go back and do this really bad.
Yeah, probably November. It's already cold.
Yeah.
We ran. It was mid-August to beginning of September. That's normal time to run these rivers. Sandalash is not a big river, but it is super interesting. Very narrow canyons, beautiful canyons.
And I heard there's a road, like you hiked in maybe like 10 miles or whatever that is in kilometers, 12 kilometers, 15 kilometers.
Yeah, it's not a long hike, but because you have to go.
You're saying that 10 miles is not long, Vlad?
10 miles? No, it's not long. Okay. In Siberia, for some rivers, people walk like a week.
A week? They walk a week to put in. Wow.
Zach, just to be clear, it's more like 16 miles, 10 kilometers. Wait. I mean, wait. So wait, did you say 10 miles or 10 kilometers?
10 kilometers.
6 miles. Oh, yeah, 10 kilometers, 6 miles.
Yeah. Vlad, is that a metric week or an imperial standard week?
Well,
don't ignore Vlad. He's feeling, yeah.
The week is 7 days.
American days or metric days?
Oh, geez. Here we go.
Zach, stop it.
Okay. Hey, Vlad, I do have a question for you. When you guys built these boats, like how long did it take you to build them? And like of your like monthly salary, how many months salary would it take to get all the money you need to build one of those boats? Or like it seems like that would be pretty costly. It sounds like the materials and everything.
You know, you pay sometimes when you need to get material, you pay to somebody who can deliver it to you, but not a lot, because mostly it was not legal store or legal source. Yeah.
A friend of a friend type of thing.
Didn't you used to trade a lot, Vlad?
Like you would trade kind stuff? Of. You have to live in Soviet Union to understand how this, let's say, outdoor tourism economy worked. It's difficult, even talk about this. Okay. Of course, everyone knew that this material have source like military or some other not very legal sources, but it was very common for entire country.
But if somebody, Peter's asking a question, how much would it cost to build your own cat? Was it something that's affordable for most people, or would you have to be? Most
this kind of vacations was the most affordable. It's much more affordable than to travel, let's say, to Crimea and lay down on the beach. It's much more affordable. Therefore, it was so popular.
Oh, really? A lot of people were doing this.
Yeah, and a lot of people, especially people who work in research science, engineers, who had not very big salaries, but they could do this stuff to relax.
So did you and your buddies just say, hey, let's start building boats and start running rivers? Or did you get hooked up with some people who were already doing it? How did you get started?
You start from something standard. Like I started in 1973, 74. I use, we call it Baidarka. It's 2-person folding kayak. You could buy it. It was not very expensive. A couple hundred rubles.
It's like $2.
In this time, let's say official course in this time was ruble was like $8. It means maybe it's expensive, but of course nobody had do this conversion to dollars. Yeah, but it was it was very heavy kayak. I remember my first trip I used German folding kayak RZ, and weight was about maybe 40 kilograms, let's say close to 80 pounds. Yeah. And we ran on this boat, river of class 3 in Karelia. It's border with Finland.
How many days?
It was about 2 weeks also.
Oh, wow. And you just went? Had any of you guys done it before?
What?
Had any of you been down the river before, anybody in your group?
No. We had system of tourist clubs, outdoor tourist clubs, and people left their description of different rivers, trails, etc. For example, every Thursday in Latvia, in Riga, we met there with waterfalls, white waterfalls. Tuesday, I think it was day for people who hike mountains, something like one separate day for bikers, etc. And this system worked very well. You could get information about almost everything. If you could not get it, let's say in Riga, in Latvia, you could ride or take train to Moscow in Central Club, and they had huge library of
wow, that's cool.
Descriptions. They have it even now.
Oh, really?
Right now, you can find many of these, descriptions on internet, but it was a great system, in my opinion.
Vlad, what's happening here? Are you guys still on the Sandalash? Why are you guys hiking?
Yes, I even surprised.
Or is this are we on a different trip now?
You know what? We did hike just kind of loop in mountains to these lakes.
It's like side trip.
It's side trip to Kölsai Lake. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're still on the Sandalash. You're doing a side trip.
No, it is. It is close to Chilik River. It is piece of trip of 1984.
Okay.
We got some questions here. You want to buzz through some of these questions, Zach?
Yeah, I just want to take a second before I do. Like, just so everybody knows, this is just a bunch of videos put together. We're jumping around from place to place. They're generally one river, but we are jumping from place to place. And I think we're somewhere new again right now, right, Vlad?
Today, yes. Zach put these small pieces from our videos. You can find these videos on YouTube. Each video about separate river. But generally, description of these rivers, all of them even more than these videos, you can find in my book.
That's what I want to talk about real quick, too. And I have it here, so I'm going to make myself big just to show everybody.
Didn't we give someone that book a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was like one of the prize for members that week. So this is Vlad's book that we gave away.
You still have a bunch of them in your company, right?
Yeah, I have a stack of them in my basement. I've given away and sold a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So my stack isn't as big, but you can buy these from Vlad if you want to get a copy for $29.95.
From Amazon. Yeah.
From Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can buy it on Amazon? Wow.
Yep. I'll put a link when the show's over to where you can buy this on Amazon. In the YouTube thing.
The stories are, I mean, it's humbling to read, Vlad. It makes me feel really wimpy reading your stories.
Yeah, recently I read a very good review of my book, and I was super proud because Tate, who wrote this review, wrote that I have great writing abilities. I was very, very proud about this characterization.
It's well written. I really enjoyed reading it. It's kind of funny.
I was in Scotland and I met guy James, who forgot his last name, but he's owner of outdoor company, and he bought my books, bunch of my books, and told that it is best guidebook that he read in his life.
Oh, wow.
It's super pleasant, of course.
Yeah. It's a fun book. It's great reading. Yeah, it's outstanding.
Yeah, I have this book in Russian also. I translated English to Russian.
Oh, bring it up closer. Let's see. Can we see what it looks like?
You see, it is much bigger than book in English.
Why is it bigger? Is there more tips in that one? Do I need to learn to read Russian?
Because words are longer.
Of course, I am great writer, like they told, but in Russian I am much greater.
Oh man. Okay. Oh, geez. So should we go through some of these questions now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Just before we start with the questions, where are we now, right, Vlad? By the way, we're switched rivers, right? This is somewhere else.
Oh, this one again, we are in Kyrgyzstan. It is river Tar or Ital, Alaiku. It is one river with bunch of names.
But this is in Kyrgyzstan.
Probably Kyrgyzstan, yes.
Okay, but this is like over by more on the east side, I'm guessing.
It is along Fergana range, mountain range. Very close to border with Tajikistan.
Okay. I'm going to pause it
It's
and go
nice
through some questions real quick.
that you did not go over there this year, because, you know, when they're not in Soviet Union, now they're in state of small war, local war.
Kyrgyzstan
and Tajikistan. It is exactly this place close to this river.
Wow. We crossed the border between Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan a few times, and we ran rivers near the border, and we basically had to talk our way through military checkpoints. Even a few years ago, there was like a 20-mile border.
People are very poor, and they fight for, meadows for their cattle.
For minnows?
Yes.
Oh, meadows.
Meadows, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Gnarly.
And nobody, the demarcation of this border, even in Russian Empire before revolution, and of course during Soviet Union, nobody did it too. But everything was more or less peaceful there. But now they shoot each other.
When we were there, it was like 4 or 5 years ago. It was really peaceful. I was surprised to see military checkpoints, and these were checkpoints. I mean, it would be harder to cross these checkpoints than crossing the Sierra on foot. Like the mountains are way bigger. I can't imagine. Like the mountains would defend the country on its own. So I was surprised to see military checkpoints up these valleys. That was kind of weird to me. There were a lot of them, but especially with how peaceful everywhere we went was. Like Kyrgyzstan was really safe.
Yeah.
But we have questions for you. The first one is Peter noticed a lot of draw strokes. When you're taking the cataracts, is that pretty common to use draw strokes?
Sorry, one more time.
Oh, draw strokes. Like Peter, do you see the question on the screen, Vlad?
So when you guys are Vlad, when you guys are running the cataracts down, do you guys call command? Does someone call out commands? Do you guys all just? It looks like everyone's throwing in.
Yes, I told you. You always had some people call this person captain or leader or pilot, and usually the most experienced person, and this person gives command how to work. But usually, because of this system of classification of rivers and permission to go to certain rivers, people were experienced, and their experience corresponded difficulty of river. So they understood what to do.
So what type of commands would they use? Would the pilot use? Like what we know as commands, like back paddle, forward paddle, right turn, left turn, or
no? Usually it was pretty simple. You just show direction. If it was, for example, let's go just couple meters left of this black rock or something like this, and people just understand what to do.
Everyone does the stroke they think is going to do best to help.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what Peter's talking about. So a lot of drawing and everyone kind of doing the stroke that's going to move them in the right direction. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Vladimir, it's much simpler than people can imagine. If you use two-person cats, now they're really popular. It's even simpler than four-person.
Vlad, these rivers look hard and continuous. It's hard to imagine somebody in the back saying, could we please go a little bit right of that black rock? It doesn't. It seems like you'd have to yell things that are that are less words.
You're not so far from your partner. It is just 1.5 meters from you.
You sound very calm. You're like, oh yeah, let's just go a little bit left of the black rock. It seems more like, hey guys, go left, hard left.
Yeah.
Or do you explain it above the rapid, like way
you
above,
heard,
like, hey,
for example, how I lead my boat on Ptolemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could hear you. Yeah, but Vlad, we could hear you miles downstream. Back. Like you would just scream it. You would scream forward. Like you would scream back.
No, he would
forward.
say,
He would be like, oh, hey, go right
say,
around that rock.
He wouldn't say forward. He'd say forward, please.
Who don't know anything about river. Therefore, you have to remind them.
So would you, like, above the rapid, say, hey, here's the maneuver, just do it? And would you be quiet in the rapid?
Above the rapids, if rapid is complicated and strong enough, usually we walk and we just look up. You go here to the left, you go here in the center of the river. Here you have to go to the right, for example. And we try to remember all landmarks and then go. Usually rapids, it not longer than, let's say, half of mile. Very rarely you have difficult part of rapid longer than this, right?
That's pretty far. Though.
Wait. You said half of a mile, like a kilometer long?
Yes.
1.5 kilometers.
Yeah, I told you very rarely.
Oh, very rarely it's longer than that. A half a mile is a really long rapid.
Yes.
What would happen if you flipped like near the top? What would you? Can you guys get the boats to shore? Would you flip them back over in the middle of the river? What was your normal like rescue plan?
It's not very good situation. You understand, because you have to swim. Swim and enjoy your swim.
So that brings us to another question someone else was talking about. It looks like your PFDs had a lot of flotation in them. Is that correct? Did you guys have really high flotation?
Yes, they're bigger volume. That's true. But problem with this bigger volume, that if you have hole with big circulation of water, you can stuck there.
Oh, because you don't go down.
You understand that if it's small, you go deeper and river can wash you out of this circulation.
Had you seen people with those high flotation vests get stuck in hydraulics? Had you seen that happen to your friends at all?
I'm lucky because in Soviet Union, my group and we did not lose any of our friends. Of course, we had problems, we had accidents, and let's say we had injuries, but not very serious. It was a situation when person or two could not pedal anymore, and in this case, of course, it created very inconvenient situation for rest of group, because you had to carry this person around big rapids or walk with him. We made something.
How would you run the cataracts with just 3 people? That seems like that'd be really weird. You put 2 up front and 1 in the back.
We never had one catamaran. Usually we had at least 2, 3, or in some cases, but rarely 4 boats.
So it's somebody walk back up, somebody do it, and then walk back up, Vlad, to join a cat missing a person?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes even what we did, like in Sandalash and Chatkal case, we had 2 people who actually were passengers on our cats, and they walk around majority of big rapids. But we always had, like spare paddler.
But would the spare paddler just be hiking along and jumping in, or would they run it on their boat and run back up and jump in?
They after rapid they can jump in. Yeah.
So I mean, where
They
does the
don't
spare paddler come
carry
from?
anything because all backpacks they're on cat.
I don't know where the spare paddler. I mean, where do you find just it's
Aaron?
not just somebody
Oh,
hanging out.
Vlad, did you ever have to be the spare paddler? Were you ever the spare paddler? Where you're like, I have to walk around every rapid. I'm just gonna help. I'm just gonna help carry gear on.
I don't. And I have, some problems in some trips when we had injured people, and when you have to run rapid on 2 or 3 boats, it's not very big fun also.
We need to do the rapid 3
It's
times.
stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't quite understand this, Vlad. Are you saying there's some spare paddlers who just come on the trip and they're just there hanging out? They're like walking down a road or a trail.
Fun. It is trip. They could do some hiking around the river.
But then when you're like, hey, somebody's hurt, we need a spare paddler to come down. They come down, jump in the boat, and
much easier for us, writing of report about this trip, taking pictures, videos.
So you're just like, we know we're gonna get some people hurt on this trip, so we gotta bring some spare paddlers.
This is sort of like a football team where you have extra players. Where when a player gets hurt, like they sub out somebody and somebody runs in and takes their spot.
If you want, yes.
Okay, I never knew this, Vlad. This is a new thing to me. But hey, I'm gonna go back to the report. Did you guys write reports because it was a hobby, or was it part of, like, is it part of the culture of the Soviet Union and back then, and like the people doing this stuff to always write reports for other people to help them understand?
Reports were part of official culture of outdoor tourism, because you could do these trips officially, or some people did it unofficial. It means, but when you do it unofficial, you are on your own completely. You cannot, expect that somebody will know about your location or your situation. When you are official, you leave in club information about your schedule, when you should be, let's say, in the end of your river, in the beginning, and if you did not come there in the right time, they will send rescue service to this area to look for you.
So, like, if it was official, you would submit some paperwork, I'm guessing, saying we're doing this official trip. Here's our itinerary. And then part of the responsibility afterwards is to file a report of the trip for other people. Is that what happens?
Yes, that's true. And again, it was system of sport classification, from beginning, like youth classification, to the very top, like master of sport in river rafting.
So what was your classification, Vlad?
I'm master of sport, yes.
Oh, you were master of sport? How long did it take to get to master of sport?
It was not easy, because you have not only to run river, you have to be a leader of trips. And it should be step by step. You cannot go from first to, let's say, fourth. You have to go first, second, third, and then fourth. And then be leader on each of these categories.
And submit the paperwork. It
was pretty good system, because it was very few people. Like sometimes I see here, people never were anywhere, and then they decided to run, let's say, Cherry Creek.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
Yeah, you know this.
Yeah,
We saw such people.
You're like, you just bought your raft. Yeah, you probably don't want to do this. Yeah, no, that's
it sounds structured. Like there's this structure in place to work your way up the harder raft.
Not American system because it's somehow limited freedom of choice. But this freedom of choice saved many lives.
Vlad, it seems like you guys had a lot of deaths on river trips in the old ex-Soviet Union, right? Like, but you guys were running like crazy hard stuff, I guess, too. So I guess it's a different scene. I mean,
it is a little bit different, but spirit and fun is the same.
Yeah.
That's major thing. I remember that. Same thing told me Dick Linford when I first time came to America, and we talk about this, and he told, it's not a big difference between us. We are river people, and that's true.
But I think one big difference, Vlad, I mean, the more I talk to you and the more I read your book, and just like the more time I spend with you, I feel like it really sets in with me. It's you were hiking in for several days to do a 3-week trip and kind of live off the land, like catch fish, eat berries, eat mushrooms on a river that and you're going to be on the river for a couple weeks, and you might go by villages and pull in and get some food. It's a whole different thing that we do now, where we go do like a trip on the Middle Fork of the Salmon.
Yeah, it is different life.
Yeah,
you have to remember that in villages sometimes you could not get any food. Instead of maybe bread that was hard like stone.
Yeah,
it was a different, life.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so crazy, like so hardcore what you guys did, because you went to these like remote places and had to figure so much out. And you had probably reports from other people who were like, hey, this is a place where there's a village. This is a place where visit a village. But everything was so minimal. Like you didn't carry that much stuff with you, and you depended on like
you have to think and you have to calculate everything.
Yeah. Where we're like, oh, just throw all the tools you need in a box and you're good.
Before we try to prepare our trips, let's say if you had like class 4 or above trip, in long trip, you start to prepare, let's say, immediately after New Year. And trip, let's say, in July.
And what's really interesting to me about this, because you read Vlad's book and you kind of have a sense of it, but we went and ran a river that Kekimarin, and we just went to like the first day of Vlad's trip, and we just did a roadside run. Like we put in and took out. It was really fun. And what Vlad did was he put in and took out 2 weeks later. Right? There's a bunch of sections you could do as day trips, but they didn't have vehicles and didn't do much. They didn't do day trips and stay in hotels, which is what we did. They just put in the very top, and they just went for 2 weeks and then got done at the end of 2 weeks.
No, when I look at Aaron, I think he easily can live without hotel.
But I mean,
that sounds fun to me. Like a 3-week trip. I mean, these trips sound insane. Like you put all this stuff on your back and you go hike in multiple days, get someplace, maybe chop down some street trees to help build your rafts, and then go run down on these. And like as Peter said, like these rivers look like they're pumping, and they're juicy. And you're like, it looks class 5 to me. It looks all class, like gnarly stuff I would never want to swim. And then you're hoping you have enough food to get down there, you stop places and get food. And I mean, I think we're all river people, but what you guys are doing there, I think we still haven't got there, like with what we're doing here. Like, what would be the equivalent of some of these runs they're doing in the U.S.? I mean, I don't know. What's the?
I don't know. Run of river it's the same, but what is around river it's different.
I think what would compare to it, Aaron, would be
people
like
are their relations are a little bit different. Even Americans and Russians, they have a lot in common, but for example, you go, let's say, in Carpathian Mountains, and before this ugly stuff with Ukraine, I remember I walked with my wife on trails along and just we built tent, decided to go to sleep. It's dark, and somebody with flashlight just woke up and told, you put your tent on way of wild boars. It's not the best way. And this guy and his wife took us to his house, and we spent nights there, and they fed us. Can you imagine it in America?
No, not like that. Yeah. No.
It's maybe in some places, yes, maybe. But probably
I
not
think
so common.
the trip style would be like going to do the Middle Fork and taking out on the Snake. Right? They didn't just do the Middle Fork, stay in hotel, do the Middle Fork, stay in hotel, go home. They're like, we're going to spend 2 weeks in the water. We're going to put it on the Middle Fork, and we're going to go down the Snake, and we're going to get to Riggins and resupply. And there's going to be road, like some parts are wilderness, some parts are roads, but we're going to get on the river, and we're going to take out when the whitewater ends. Or like another example might be like putting it on the headwaters of the Kern, hiking over Whitney, doing the super remote section, and then switching between class 2 and 3 and 5, some roadsides, some with towns next to it, and then finishing in Bakersfield.
Behave.
Sorry. Right, so they were like, so like a lot of us will snub our noses at the class 2. It's like, I'm just doing the Middle Fork and I'm done. Where they're like, we're going to do the Middle Fork plus everything past it, even though we could take out earlier. I think that's an interesting thing. So like, tell me if I'm wrong, Vlad, like you plan like, let's say a month trip. You leave Latvia with your stuff in a backpack. You get on a train, you get in a truck, you get all the transportation you get to put in, and then you're on the river for a long time through villages, along roads, in some wilderness, some not wilderness. And then you finish, jump on a train and take the train home, which is different than us, where we just like, we get in our trucks, we load everything up.
Yeah.
We drive.
And the mechanization of trips, he is much, much, much higher.
The what is?
I talk about transportation and everything.
Yeah. So we all get in our vehicles. They're public transporting
everything.
Yeah. Vlad, when you did these trips, did you have a car at home? So people just...
I could not. Aaron, you forgot. I was researcher, physicist. My salary was not so high. I could not even dream about car.
Wait, Vlad, in Soviet Union, didn't everybody have the same salary?
No, that's some people had more. Interesting. My very good friend, he was worker at Riga electromechanical plant, just simple worker. He did not have education, college education, I mean, and but he was very good person to repair presses.
Presses like the machines where you like turn the thing and it puts the drill down through it.
Yes. And he had a salary almost 3 times higher than mine. And I was a senior researcher at my institute.
That doesn't seem very communist to me.
Of course, different kind of bureaucrats, these party functionaries, of course, they had a bunch of different, gimmicks to get higher salary or something besides salary.
Huh.
But this idea that everyone had same salary in Soviet Union, that's not true.
Was it relatively close? It's not like here where there's massive discrepancy between salaries. Was it like relatively close?
No, difficult to say. Let's say if I have, let's say, salary close to 200 rubles, then my boss, head of laboratory, had salary about 350 rubles.
So do you make more money based on how high you are up?
Yes, in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how would you move up? Is it because you have a better education or because?
No, it's because of everything. My first work as engineer of electron accelerator was like 110 rubles. Okay. Of course, senior engineer, he had higher salary than me, but he was more qualified, of course. And then when I got my first PhD, I almost immediately got, position of senior researcher, and my salary increased almost to $200. And when I got my second PhD, my second doctorate, and I got a position of leading scientist, and my salary went almost to $400. But
dollars or rubles?
Many years, and not all people had PhD. Because to get PhD, you had to do. You have to remember, in Soviet Union and in Russia now, to get a PhD, doctor degree, you need to do research work and get results. If you don't have results, you never will get this degree. It's not educational degree like it is in United States.
You have to actually do research to get.
You can get degree PhD online. Yeah.
Can you really?
Yes.
All right.
I might have to get one of those. Vlad, where are we now on the river?
It is Tar River, Kyrgyzstan again. It's Big Tar Canyon, end of this canyon. Yeah. It's very nice river, and physicist from Osh College, his parents invited us in one village for common dinner with relatives and everything. It was great.
That was what we saw a few minutes ago.
The
video.
Yes.
What is this?
This is we scout this canyon and just playing with ropes also.
Is that for safety? Just in case they fell down?
For safety, I don't think that this rope would help if you fall down, but
well, it looks steep. So Vlad, did you ever, you talked about the ones that were like sponsored and not sponsored trips. Would you ever do the non-sponsored trips then, or did you mostly do sponsored trips?
actually only sponsorship that I was able to get was in 89 and 91 when I got money from sponsors to go to international competitions, raft competitions, first in Siberia and second in Costa Rica. That only situation when we got sponsorship. Rest of my more than 50 trips were paid from my own pocket.
Okay. But then you had another word too that you
Pocket of my
use.
friends, of course, too.
Yeah. You also talked about something though where there were ones where they were like official trips or unofficial. What was the other term you used besides sponsored?
Officials and non-officials, it did not affect your financial economy
Totally.
of your trip.
Did you do unofficial trips as well as official? Did you do both types, or did you do mostly?
To be honest, yes. My first trip to the Rafshan River with Moscow people, when we used this Russian plot, Zach,
You guys took a plot down the Zarafshan?
we used on first trip, yes, in
Wow.
79, yes. And
So
it was totally unofficial. My first class 6 in Soviet classification trip on Kitoy River was unofficial also. I jumped from class 3 to class 6.
Wait, I thought you weren't supposed to, Vlad. That was the whole point.
But you
So
know,
you cheated.
it was my beginning. Don't jump on me, Zach. You know,
gave
you
us this
will
whole
lose.
talk. You just gave us this whole talk about how you're supposed to work your way up slowly so nobody
don't know
dies,
that you
and then
suppose. I
you went
told
and jumped to class 6.
in official way, if you want to get your, let's say, sport degrees and everything, yes, you have to follow official line. If you do unofficial line, you never will have these degrees. You know, you never will have even candidate to Master of Sport of USSR or first degree or second.
why
It would not.
why do you want those? Why do you want those Masters of Sport? Does that help you in some way?
It is somehow. It doesn't affect you financially. It doesn't affect, but it is kind of your authority in world of rafting.
Do you get a medal? You get a medal, right, Vlad? That you can wear in
Yeah,
your jacket?
bunch of them over there.
I mean, it's kind of cool you get a medal, first of all. But I mean,
Yes, it's championships. You compete, let's say, class 5 trips. You compete with other class 5 trips, and you have to provide evidence what you did. Was it first descent? What rapids you run? What rapids you portage? What weather condition during your trip, etc., etc.
But Vlad, if you get master for Master of Sport, do you get a medal for that when you finally get your Master of Sport?
Not medal, it is like pin.
Pin, yeah, pin.
Yeah, but this pin goes with, kind of small red book that supports that you did not steal this pin.
You get a book and a pin.
It is real, yes.
Do you ever wear the pin, like if you go to dinner with other Raptors, be like, hey, I put the pin on so they know that you're Master of Sport?
If you want to brag, you can, but I never did it.
But people did know you were Master of Sport, right?
In Latvia, we had only 7 of us in Whitewater.
Okay.
Therefore, of course, people who were connected with Whitewater, they knew me. Yeah. And I was member of so-called qualification commission. That commission that was responsible for checking groups before they go to the river. Are they ready or not? Etc., etc., etc.
It's kind of like certifications for private boaters. It's like IRF for private boaters.
Yeah, with your cool little Boy Scout patches, Zach.
And you get a medal, a pin.
Hey, so Vlad, question, Peter had this question, like when you guys were running hard stuff, how did you guys approach safety? Did you guys like talk about boat spacing, running tight, having people downstream unsure with throw? Did you guys use throw bags? I mean, what did you guys do? You guys use throw bags?
Yes, and we check in this commission preparation, we check readiness of members of group for, let's say, CPR. Usually it was weekend in May or beginning of June, where we check all these groups. We intentionally flip boat and look at people, how they use throw bags, how they do CPR, etc., 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 during this weekend.
Oh wow, this sounds very similar, Zach.
And without, let's say, 3 signatures of 3 different members of qualification commissions, group could not go to the river.
Now, did you, when you do these trips, were they just with random people in Latvia, or were they all like, you'd be like, yeah, you're going with your friends? Would you go with specific
friends and we had connections in different clubs. Big club had Riga Polytechnic Institute. Okay, we had own club, a name of only whitewater river in Latvia, Amata, and a bunch of people who were in this club, they just were our reserve and reserve for other groups.
Reserve means they can come and hike along and jump in as a paddler.
Pool of people for you.
Yeah, like, hey, you can come with us on the trip, but you have to hike along and take photos.
I see. So you got to work your way up. You got to kind of like
There's definitely hierarchy
like a
here.
pledge. Yeah. Oh yeah. You want to come along? Yeah.
Yeah.
Vlad, if somebody has, you know how there's like different levels you can be. If somebody has a certain level, let's say like level 3, can you trust that? Or sometimes they have level 3, but
usually
they're actually
you
level 2.
You know, documents that support it.
Do you so like if somebody's looking at joining on a trip, do you say show me your papers first?
And signature of chief of qualification commission that give you assurance that this person did this class of rivers. And then you talk to person, you usually can say, is this person really did Cherry Creek, or he just heard name of this river?
Yeah, but somewhere. Vlad, there's people that have done Cherry Creek. It doesn't mean they're classified boaters.
Absolutely not. But when you talk, usually you can see it, and usually, you know, during this weekend before season, you can see what he can do. And of course, it is, you talk to his friends and in his club, people know people, and they can talk about this.
Sorry to interrupt. Are we back on the Sandalash again? This looks like the Sandalash.
It is again Sandalash. Yes, okay. You're right.
This Aaron, this one looks really cool. It's like,
is that the one with the waterfalls, the Sandalash that we were just seeing before?
It's a small waterfall. It's one pretty big waterfall is on Chatkal. It's called Waterfall Rapid. And second on Sandalash, it's about 2 meters.
Are we talking about the waterfall you're running, or are we talking about the waterfall coming on the side of the canyon?
This is different.
That we're running.
This is different than the one we just saw. This one's in Kyrgyzstan. It flows into the Chatkal. This looks like the Awahi to me.
Yeah, it's right here. It's after this waterfall, that is one of our friend. We left him like lesson for him on this rock in the middle of the river, and he spent there about maybe 30-40 minutes.
30-40. How'd you get him off?
Just throw bag.
Okay, you just tell him to jump.
But so
you see, river is pretty narrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we just kept him in, right place. It's a nice lesson.
I want to pause. Go
Next
back a second.
time he will follow commands of his captain.
Is that what happened? He didn't listen to you?
Yes.
So this is a good example of this trip, Aaron. I think is really cool. We're gonna get to. They did the Sandalash, and then it flows into that shot call. And so most people, like if I went to Kyrgyzstan, I would just do the Sandalash. It's like a 5-day trip or whatever. Like we did a 5-day trip, and then we'd go to town and get a hotel and party. But see that road next to
on Sandalash, you better to go to Chatkal. Chatkal is a beautiful river. Canyons, just breathtaking.
You do hold on. This is the thing is you do the Sandalash, and then there's roads and takeout, but you can keep going down the Chatkal. So they would do the Sandalash all the way through the Chatkal and make it a long trip, right? And even though they could take out on this road, they could. The problem, the Chatkal sounds to me like one of the best trips in the world, from what I've heard talking to Vlad, and we've driven near parts of it when we're out there, but it crosses into Uzbekistan, and you can't get permission to. The put-ins in Kyrgyzstan, most of the rivers in Kyrgyzstan.
Problem that relationships between these, neighboring Central Asian countries are not very good.
Yeah.
What they cannot, split between themselves, I don't have any idea. I told you about problem of meadows in between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan, and probably similar problems they have between Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, on the Uzbekistan side, there's on all the rivers there's like border stops, and so
people themselves are very friendly when you are guests there.
Yeah,
I was in this country so many times, and they're incredibly friendly, always happy to see you, to feed you, and their food, Zach, are amazing.
Okay, when you say the food's amazing, Vlad, let's just I remember when I used to work with you, you used to eat containers of sour cream with salt on them. That's what you used to like to eat. Zach would have to buy extra containers of sour cream with salt.
People. But when you are, let's say, on your way to the river, let's say you are going to Macha or Zeravshan, and you came before taking bus to come to Aini and move upstream. You came to ancient city Samarkand. Samarkand has one of the biggest bazaars, marketplaces in the world, like 3 miles long.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And you can step in any, small counter, and they cook on street, and, melons, just maybe 20 with something pounds.
Wow.
We went there because Vlad told us to go there. Vlad, we went there, remember? And I played chess, and I got schooled at chess, like 4 games in a row. There's like 20 guys playing chess, and I jumped in, and the guy just destroyed me 4 games in a row. But it's a big market.
It's not me. These guys, they're practicing every day.
They were. He just schooled me. He was just toying with me. It was amazing. But going back to the chat, this is the chat call here too, right, Vlad? We're still watching chat. This is all chat call we're watching now.
Yes, it is still chat call.
This, honestly, I think from what I know about this run, this could be one of the best river trips in the world. It's not class 5, right? There's only one, just one hard rapid, like class 4+, if I remember right. But like a lot of
it is
3, 4,
several class 5 rapids.
Oh, there are class 5s.
Waterfall rapids class 5, Khargush, yes, class 5, no, and Pigak probably yes. Yeah.
But not super hard, right, Vlad? It's not like
No, they're
Keto
not.
or good.
They're not super hard.
So this is like a
I would
manageable.
say for
river.
raft it would be more difficult than for catamaran, but they're
But,
still.
but are there any runs you'd rather have a raft on than the catamaran?
Catamaran is, let's say, less flippable.
Yep.
It's almost, at least I never ever had catamaran close to wrap.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course not, because they can't wrap. They don't. The water would just flow through them.
So is there any runs, any rivers like Vlad that we know here in the United States that you'd be like, yeah, I'd rather have a raft on that river than the catamaran in terms of running? It would be easier to run in a raft.
I just remember reaction of Steve Lyles and Saul when we ran Carl Salmon at very high water, and we took lines that Steve told, they will flip there. Steve. And nothing happened with us, etc.
Were you in a 2-person or a 4-person catamaran?
4-person. 2-person we did also with Saul, and we flip once on lower part of Carl Salmon.
If I remember correctly, I think I saw the 2-person out once or twice, and it was actually really light. Like it was pretty amazing how easy it is to travel. Like it's like, and you can run some hard rivers in it. I forget how much it weighed. I felt like it was weighed like 40.
One that you saw, it is slalom cat. It was designed and done for competitions in Costa Rica, and actually this kind of cat won slalom in Costa Rica in 91.
Okay.
Yeah,
it looked like I think you and Saul were using it.
I have a cat in my garage right now, 2-person cat for expeditions, and it has bigger volume. It is heavier, but it holds big holes much better.
How much does it weigh?
Not a lot also.
What's not a lot? 20 kilos?
20, 25.
Okay. Yeah. So like around 50 pounds. Okay.
You see now these melons on Samarkand Bazaar.
Yeah. Look at all of them. Man. And you could just take 3 weeks off of work and go do trips or be gone for like
Yes. I lived in Soviet Union, and my first official vacations were 28 working days. It's 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yes, 4 weeks.
No, 28 working days?
Working days.
That's more than 4 weeks.
Yes. Almost 5.
That's 5. It's over 5.
I'm
it's
not
5 weeks,
sure
3 days.
It was vacation of engineer of electron accelerator. Probably some of this was connected that I worked officially with source of radiation. And
so you get more vacation.
I had special coupons for food for our cafe.
Oh, wait. Is this a vehicle you're using to go to put in this tractor? Sorry, Vlad. Is that a tractor?
Yes, because I could not find any drivers who would go on this road upstream of the river. Therefore, I found this tractor, and this guy Mahmoud, he took us. I have story about this tractor driver in my book. You can read it.
I'll have to check that out.
The same guy who told me that you cannot sleep feet toward cemetery to Mazar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have to turn, and as a result, I slept outside of tent.
What's going on here, Vlad? Look, guys, getting ready to ride your horses?
It's religious stuff.
Okay. Is this Erev Shan?
It is, yes.
This is Tajikistan.
Tajikistan, yes.
It's a big,
Right.
big, long river. Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
Oh, there's
There's
a
a-
raft.
Yeah. Look, it's a raft with a skirt.
Mm-hmm.
That would be smart if you had a bucket boat.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know where they got this raft, because usually people use raft, safety raft from airplanes, military stuff. But this one, I don't know. This one made from more strong rubber, and it is a Ukrainian group, and I and my friend, we were only two from Riga with them.
But
It's about your question, where people take, peddlers for these trips.
do they have Master of Sport in Ukraine as well? It's a
It
Soviet
was
system.
Soviet Union, yes.
So, like, if you met a Master of Sport from Ukraine, you would instantly respect them. You'd be like, "Oh, you're a fellow Master of Sport."
They had the same Soviet Union Master Sport. Master of Sport of Republics did not exist in this time.
So, I guess what I was asking of Vlad is like,
one country, Soviet Union, Zach.
I know, but when you meet somebody from Ukraine with Master of Sport from Soviet Union, you then respect them automatically, right? Because you know that they have a certain
Yeah,
level
you
of
know
skill.
that this guy has good experience.
Do you ask to look at their papers?
I never did it. It is very small community. Usually, many people you can ask, and how a person is talking usually give you instantly, impression about his experience.
Based on like how they're talking, like the places they've been, or the way they hold themselves?
Where they been, but rest you have to talk to his partners in this trip, because of course you can get, let's say, person who is not a good gift.
A good gift?
Not a gift for you.
No, is that the word you use? Like a good gift for the group?
Yes.
Okay.
You should have, some reservations about people always.
So Vlad, are you familiar with pack rafts?
Oh, geez, here we go.
Those little pack rafts, you know what those are?
Not
They're like inflatable kayaks. Zach's really into them.
They're like that raft with a skirt, but they're for one person.
Or they're like Zach's stuff that he runs. They're like the stuff that Zach runs on the Checo.
Probably saw a couple times such things, but not on strong rivers. Mostly it was.
That's what they're for, not for strong rivers.
Yes. Now I think I remember. It was also a small boat for pilots, safety boat.
Yeah. And
when pilot leaving airplane with parachute, this boat goes with him. It's light. It's only for sea or lake, not for white water.
That's pretty accurate. You pretty much sums up there, Vlad. Move on from this story.
Okay. Hey, so Vlad, like these days, like we got a bunch of people listening in. Like, these days, like currently, like there are problems going across borders. What are you like? If you were to say, what are like someone's looking to do a trip in the former Soviet Union, where do you think a good place to go would be?
Safest place, I think it's Siberia. And it's big place. It's bigger than United States. If you can find there so many rivers, I just cannot recommend you Caucasus or cannot recommend you Central Asia because of political situation and wars and everything. And this crazy terrorism.
What's your favorite trips in Siberia?
In Siberia, it is Kitoy River. It is close to Baikal Lake. And actually, you start your trip from Baikal. From Irkutsk or Sludyanka, it's a small town south of Irkutsk on south shore of Baikal.
And do you have to like hike in for like 2 weeks to start this
Now
trip?
Big advantage that you don't need to hike. You can drive straight to the river, but still you will need to do one or soon even two portages.
And how long is that trip?
This is pretty long trip because you have to reach Irkutsk. Irkutsk you can reach from Moscow or from Vladivostok, does not matter. Approximately same distance. Then you have its local train to Sludyanka. It's about 3-4 hours from Irkutsk. And then you need to rent a truck. And on truck, it's another probably 6-8 hours to the river.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And what I learned, it turns out when Vlad says 6 to 8 hours to the river, he means 2 days. 14 hours, 14 hours a day in a car. It's pretty accurate. I think those are
the same.
Vlad's using the metric system there for
much
time.
better roads that we use in to work.
There's the metric system for time. Vlad's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a day, an 8-hour day to drive in to put in. It was 2 14-hour days to get to put in.
But it was fun. Agree.
But it was fun. But you have to agree that the metric system for time is a little different.
Military truck.
We were packed in the back of a truck, and the door was locked. And if you pounded on the window, the drivers would not know you were back there. They couldn't hear you. But it was fun. But I just want to say 6 to 8 hours in the vehicle, when Vlad says that, might mean 2 14-hour days. It's possible. Because there's metric time and there's imperial time.
So it sounds like it's going to take you like 4 or 5 days to get to the river. Then how much time do you spend rafting the river?
A lot.
It depends on your luck, weather, because if weather is very rainy, water will go up and you will stuck before major canyon, maybe for a very long time.
When you say very long time, what does that mean, Brian?
You cannot enter this canyon in high water. You will be sooner dead than alive.
I think that's what's different about these trips is like I have 5 days. We're going to go do this trip and be back in 5 days. I have to be back to work or I have responsibilities. They would go and there wouldn't necessarily be a time, right? You're hopefully going to get back 3 weeks later, but if something happened, it might take another 4 or 5 days. Right, Vlad?
Yeah.
Like it's not the schedule we're on. Like they're like, hey, we're going to go do a river where we might have to sit in camp for 3 or 4 days to wait for the water to drop. Which is something
like a true adventure. That sounds like a true adventure where you don't know how long it's going to take. You don't know what's going to happen. I think it's like, the rafting trips, most rafting trips we do now are definitely really fun. I love going out on them, but I mean, it's like people get upset when you're off by a couple hours. Oh, you get to camp an hour late. And you're like, well, Like this is an adventure. I feel like you don't know what you're going to come across. You're going to have to make adjustments as you go. It seems extraordinary.
This is why I love people who are doing the middle fork of the salmon that don't really know what they're doing sometimes, because they're on an adventure. I respect that. You know, they have the wrong gear. They don't know where they're going. They're going to flip a few times like this. When we do the middle fork, we're just, we're going to drink fine wine and play cards in the evening and tell stories. They're going to pull into camp at cold, wet, and tired at 9 p.m. haven't had a real adventure. Not a Siberian adventure, but like more of a real adventure.
Totally.
I respect people that are like,
but Aaron,
not quite ready for that.
Here you can find real adventure even without strong white water. It's a bunch of rivers in, let's say, Yakutia. You can run, let's say, 700 miles,
700?
Wait, what? 700? Flat?
For 20-25 days. And practically without big rapids.
What do you mean by
the adventure is to catch Siberian salmon taimane. Zach, you remember on Kahem, taimane?
It's taimane. It's like a landlocked salmon. They're like 6 feet long. They're super rare.
Yeah. And super tasty, right?
They're super tasty, but they're also, it turns out they're super rare and endangered too. But I didn't know that when I was eating it. We caught this
super tasty.
Then the first night of the trip, one of the Russians we were with caught a taimane, and it's like this massive fish that, its teeth go in backwards and it's evil looking. We ate that fish for like 5 days. Wow. Right? We kept pulling out at like lunch. We start a fire and pull out steaks and just eat taimane for lunch. It fed us for a while. It was tasty. But I did some research when I got home and probably shouldn't eat taimane. Vlad, they are endangered species. I'm woke. See, I told you I'm woke. But yeah, no, we definitely. But Vlad, where's this place you're talking about?
It is. I told you, Yakutia, Buryatia. It's a bunch of rivers there.
Wait, Vlad, where is this in Siberia as well?
Pretty fast rivers.
Yakutia.
Yeah, of course it's super expensive to get there because you have to use helicopters.
Can't you hike in? Can't you just hike for 3 days or 4 days into
regular flights? You have to charter them.
But are you saying there's no rapids?
It's practically no rapids.
We like rapids, Vlad. We're not getting that old.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it on the map. I'm looking at the map. It's like, it's north.
Okay, Zach, I expect that you will visit me. You remember I have a huge map of Russia.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at Google. It's pretty flat. Then this is a part of Siberia that's pretty flat, right?
Yeah.
How do you spell it?
It's Yakutia.
Yakutia, or now they call themselves Sakha Republic.
But it's part of Russia right now, right? It's still Russia.
Yes.
Currently. Aaron, the trip that would be cool is, the one that's famous, Vlad, is the Bashkaus. Do you like the Kitoi more than the Bashkaus?
Bashkaus is more, let's say, sport river. It's more dangerous river, and on my opinion, but it's not so pretty like Kitoi. Kitoi has incredibly blue water, marble on the bottom.
Wow.
It's absolutely gorgeous river.
I remember we tried to do that a long time ago. There's some guy who was going to help organize that. That's the river you wanted to do like 20 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good pack. That sounds like a good pack rafting river. Could you just hike to the start?
This one? No, this one.
I think the Kitoi is too hard for pack rafts, Aaron. I'm sorry. If you want
on Yakutia, it is. It depends what river we'll choose, and it is very low density of population.
Oh, yeah. It's like kind of being in northern Alaska. Same idea.
Kind of, yes. And even less roads than Alaska.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, talking to you gets me excited. Want to go over there? And, I mean, it sounds incredible.
Aaron, you're in Hawaii. You're not even that far away.
Oh, you're right. I'm right here. It's a short flight.
You're in Hawaii.
Yeah, you don't know that, Vlad. I live in Hawaii now. It's a rough life I live. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would expect that you would have, structure of Hawaiian person.
What does that mean, Vlad?
Now they will accuse me that I told something wrong.
What do you mean by structure? Like he has a Hawaiian shirt.
Let's stop.
I'm more Hawaiian than you.
Well, you do look more so. You got a rounder face. You got darker skin. Yeah, you look much more like a Hawaiian than I do for sure. Yeah, but yeah. That's You've got a lot of hair still too. That's I don't have that either. So it's good. Anyways, wow, we got some nice comments. Thanks, Blair. That's nice to say. Everyone's enjoying you, Vlad.
So by the way, that's not how you work. Like when you moved to the US, you didn't look like an American citizen when you moved here. Like just because Aaron moved to Hawaii doesn't mean he looks
much
Hawaiian.
Better. I was young, Zach.
We were all younger back then.
I was 30 years younger.
When you moved here.
I could do everything.
Well, it's time marches on, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely.
We can tell by Aaron's head.
Yes, it definitely passes the time.
I was younger than my sons now.
Well, when you moved here, wait, hold on. When you moved here in 91, at that point you were younger than your sons are now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was 42.
Wow.
So Vlad, if I was going to use one of your, didn't we used to call them the death cats or something like that? What did we call those things?
Maybe we might have teased Vlad about them a little bit.
I forget what we used to call them. But if you were to take one of those, the 4-person cat out in the Western U.S., where do you think it would really shine? Is there anything could you like run that through like Impassable Canyon? You think?
Impossible Canyon
On the Middle Fork?
On the Middle Fork.
No, sorry, not Impassable. What am I thinking? No, not Impassable Canyon. Sorry, why am I going blank? I'm losing it. Up north, farther north, not Impassable Canyon. The one on like Turnback Canyon.
On the Alsec.
Yeah, on the Alsec. Yeah,
on Alsec.
Yeah.
I was not there. I did Alsec, but with Tat, and you understand. On this run, you don't touch.
Okay.
Turnback Canyon.
Yeah, it's not like it's okay.
Turnback.
In Alsec, it is pretty cold river. In Yakutia, they're cold, but not so cold. Unless you go to Indigirka, maybe, when it's close to Arctic Ocean. But no.
Okay.
Aaron, I bet they could do Turnback in a 4-person cat. I mean, Turnback is really hard, and it might be dangerous. But, I mean, my understanding, Vlad, when you guys did Bashkaus, that was a 4-person cat?
Mm-hmm.
Bashkaus is really big. I mean, Bashkaus, I don't know this for sure, but I think it compares to the Stikine. Like, it's not quite that hard, but it's approaching Stikine difficulty. And I know Turnback is easier than Stikine. So, but I think when you do Bashkaus, Vlad, it's a big risk, right? Like it's a dangerous place. Like when you guys go in on the cataract, in the
It
back
is.
of your head, you're like, somebody here could die.
And it's very much depends on water. And you cannot predict what. That's problem.
Yeah.
I just trying to get a
And,
feel for.
when you are in canyon in Bashkaus, it's very difficult to leave this canyon.
Yeah. And do you guys do Chulishman?
Chulishman is one canyon, Yazulak Canyon, is very hard in terms of white water. Very hard.
Mhm.
It's bunch of waterfall kind of rapids, and it's bigger water than Bashkaus. But then again, you have several rapids like Kasha. They're very dangerous also. But in terms of camp and living river, Chulishman is easy.
Okay. But these are both really hard rivers. Like they definitely,
Yes.
and they're doing them in 4-person cats. So to me, it says something about the ability level of the paddlers and the ability of the boats to do things on the order of turn back.
That's trying to get a perspective of things around here that would be comparable to some of the stuff that they were running. Like, yeah, how the North Fork of Payette, would that be like, oh, that's a cakewalk on that? I don't know.
This is different.
Yeah,
I think the North Fork of the Payette's just a different beast. I mean,
Yeah.
my guess, Vlad, is like really high water on the Middle Fork salmon. You know, like 8 or 10 feet would compare to some of the things you guys were doing. Or, I mean, Vlad, what would you compare like Tuolumne at 5,000?
You know that it is totally doable and doable even with commercial people.
But like compared to stuff you were doing in a cataract, like in a 4-person cataract, is it hard or easy?
At it, very seriously. It's not like joke. I will do it right now.
So Tuolumne 5,000 is pretty hard. Compared, like it's not. I know it's not as hard as Bashkaus, but it's challenging. It's something here that it somewhat compares to normal stuff you'd be doing in Soviet Union.
Still, Zach, one thing about all these comparisons, that from Bashkaus you cannot, after Sartan Canyon, or from all lower half of river, you cannot leave river.
You can't hike out.
No.
Yeah.
Especially if you have, let's say, injured person, forget about this.
Do you get to have extra paddlers hike along?
You cannot hike along the
I'm just kidding, Vlad. Every time I talk to you, Vlad, I learn something new. And this time I learned that you have extra paddlers that you can just call down and say, come on down.
Not always,
We're switching you out.
Some trips. And it's fun also because on 87 in Sherdara River, we had a bunch of such, you can call them parasites. Yeah. And Yelena, my wife, was among them because she refused to go and work on the water. But it was nice because they took, everything, connection with the local population, find extra food maybe, or find place for camp.
Take video.
Take video,
Find some horses.
Do some hikes, etc. Why not?
Well, Vlad, we've been on the phone for 2 hours. We've been on the show for 2 hours. So I think we're gonna close this one down and invite you back another time. We have more Vlad videos to go through. This is just one of the sets of videos. So we'll have to do another show coming up with more videos.
Well, it's so cool you have all this footage of all these rivers. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron, it's so nice to see you. Even you are in such weird place like Hawaii.
Yeah, I know it's kind of odd that I'm here, but this is it. I know you didn't expect that, but
Aaron, all time I think maybe I have to visit Italy one more time.
Like
I
Italy,
have one friend in Italy.
I've got some family over there. I can help
Mark,
you
do you
out.
remember Simo?
I talk to him sometimes. I on Facebook I talk to him sometimes.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I would like to see him. Yeah.
Well, Vlad, we're gonna shut down the show, and then we'll do a post. We'll do a stay on the show.
Yeah,
Aaron's gonna do our goodbye, but don't hang up. We're gonna keep talking to you afterwards.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. Vlad, thank you so much for coming and sharing. It's great to hear your stories and just to hear about like what it's totally
great
like
to see you guys.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. You guys, thanks you guys again all for tuning in. We'll be back again next Friday. If you haven't, of course, hit that like button and please subscribe and do all that stuff and ring the bell so that you get all Zach's notifications. And if you have video, Zach's starting to do wind river trips again. So please, if you have any video that you want to send us, you can send a link or send it to contact me, Aaron@riversanoceans.com.
And buy Vlad's book. I put a link in the notes below. So if you want to buy Vlad's book on Amazon, just grab it. It's full of great stories.
Yeah, cool. All right. See you guys.
Wait, I have one more thing, Aaron.
Okay, bye, guys.
Don't go anywhere, Vlad.
Yeah, Vlad, stay here. I'm going to end the show in a second. We can keep talking.